We're going to take a quick peek at your golf swing. First thing we want to do here is let me just go ahead and play this and fast forward for you. Definitely think your swing plane is getting a little bit better than it's been in the past. You're definitely delivering the club from a better position than we've seen in the past. You know, the more that I look at the video, I think one of the things that we're going to have to work on is you do have a tendency to get a little bit too far from the ball. So if we take a look here, see how your hands are a little bit what I consider underneath your ears. I'd like to get your hands and arms where they're hanging more underneath your shoulders or where it would be underneath your sternum. So we've got to move probably about a good ½ inch closer to the ball. Notice how when you address the ball, you address it more out on the toe of the club right here. You know, when you're looking at the back view and just looking through the shadows, the ball would appear that it would be kind of more in the hosel if it was in the sweet spot of the club. So, you know, there's been great players like, you know, Fuzzy Zoeller used to address the ball basically right here in the heel of the club, and he was a pretty good player, won the Masters. So, you know, there's obviously, you know, there's no perfect world scenario. We're not robots, you know, we're human beings. So I think in your case, if we moved you a little bit closer, this might help out your backswing plane. But what I'm more interested in is your first movement of your backswing, the first 2 feet going back. If you take a look here, you kind of take the club, in my opinion, a little bit out. The arms are starting to get separated from the body, and then what you do is you roll the club back. So right now we're just kind of analyzing your move. There's a video on your website that explains kind of the process, explains the first 2 feet of the backswing and what we're looking for here. But you can see you kind of take it out. We get this separation of your left arm away from your chest here, and then the hands start to roll back, which puts the club head way behind your hands. I mean, think about if you were to make a swing on a horizontal plane here. You would have to flip your hands to get this club lined up with your left arm. Think about that for a second. So there's nothing that really, this shaft and club doesn't line up with your arms very well at this point. So I know when you get to the top, you're going to have to pick the club up and try to manipulate it somehow with your arms and your hands. Well, obviously, the less manipulation we have, the easier it is to deliver the club from a nice attack position into the back of the ball. So, you know, again, just look at the video here, but the big fault right now is this position here. If we can get to the point where we start taking it back, and I don't see this gap right here in between your left forearm and your chest, and we can get rid of this little V that is formed through the turf there in the background, then I think you're going to get the shaft on a much better plane line. So that's the #1 thing that we want to be concerned with right now. The next time I see you, I'll work on your posture a little bit more. But you're definitely addressing the ball a little too far out on the toe of the club. So just watch the video on your website for the correction, and I hope you have a good day, and I look forward to seeing you hopefully in the next week or so and see how you're progressing. And I hope you enjoy the website, and call me if you have any problems with it. Thanks, Jim.